text that. McDonald's in the loop.
At a bargain cost of $2 million. I don't think you can get a condo for that anymore. 2 weeks ago, we reached a milestone. We transported our 10 millionth customer to the top of the mountain, brought him down safely, and gave him a fruit basket. About 3 days ago, we did spot a bobcat under tower number 2. The animals we have been spotting have been by folks like yourselves on the tram, so keep your eyes open. Take a look from right to left in the front of the tram, you'll see a small hiking trail or a footpath. That hiking trail was actually once an access road. We use that access road to take up all our equipment to construct tower number 1. Tower number 1 is 232 feet tall, and it leans 18 degrees towards the city on purpose.
Can you bite that?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can. Ladies and gentlemen, if as we go over tower number 1, I want you to know we're going to feel a slight dip and a sway. Nothing major, just something to keep you on your toes, make sure you're awake, and say hello. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, tower number 1. Slight dip and a sway right about now. Yes, we all have a different definition of slight. If you look to the left-hand side of the cabin, ladies and gentlemen, all the way to the top of this peak, you'll see our first rock formation. That rock formation resembles a cannon. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Cannon Rock, and to give you a little perspective on size, Cannon Rock is the size of this cabin. Take a look in the opposite direction, right behind me. Out in the distance here, you'll see another small peak. On top of that peak is a large round boulder. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Golf Ball Rock. Once again, to give you a perspective on size, Golf Ball Rock is 2 times the size of this cabin. Wind does occasionally knock it down, they'll send me to roll it back up into place again. Ladies and gentlemen, the animals we do have on the Sandias include mountain lion, black bear, mule deer, and bobcat. Some of the smaller animals we have are chipmunk, squirrel, porcupine, we have raccoon, skunk, we have jackrabbit, and we have coyote, rattlesnake.
So they say never.
We also have here to pass the light-colored trees there. To the right of those light-colored trees is another rock formation. That rock formation stands straight up and down, looks like a pile of rocks stacked up one on top of the other. That, folks, is Totem Pole Pinnacle. From the base to its height, Totem Pole Pinnacle stands 7 stories high. Everything looks really small down below, it's really, really large. The area right behind me is known as Critical Point. We call it Critical Point because it's the only point in our journey. They use dynamite to blast away the rock so that the cabin could pass through in the 60s. This is Critical Point. Now, I have a question for you folks out of curiosity and a show of hands. How many of you is this your very first time on this tram ride? Never been on this tram ride before? Awesome, we've got something in common. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a couple minutes we will arrive at tower number 2. Tower number 2 is only 80 feet tall, but what makes it significant is there were no access roads to build it. Tower number 2 had to be built solely by helicopter. It took 3,000 helicopter flights just to construct that 80-foot tower, 5,000 helicopter flights to construct the tram as a whole from top to bottom, including the stringing of the cables. If you have never been on this tram ride before, I have a big treat for you on the other side of Tower 2 called Big Canyon. The most beautiful canyon on our journey. You'll know when we get there because folks will start doing and eyeing. While at Big Canyon, I'll have 2 opportunities to show off and impress you just a little bit. Work on that as soon as we get there. Folks, take a look around. You see all this beautiful rock. Looks like somebody's cut it out with a drill or a saw into blocks and then stacked it up one on top of the other. Folks, this is granite. This is what the Sandias are made of. We'll talk about that a little more in depth in just a couple of minutes. Make a lot of countertops out of this stuff.
Yeah,
Just
nice.
folks, we are arriving at tower number 2. I'd like to remind you as we go over tower number 2, we will once again feel it the slight dip and a sway. We will then arrive at Big Canyon, so have your cameras ready. You folks in the front, take a look out that window. You'll notice we have a large granite rock cliff to climb over. I hope none of you had a heavy lunch. If you see any sparks, that means we're bottoming out tomorrow. Here we go, folks. You folks in the front, watch that first step. It's a long ways down. gentlemen, welcome to Big Canyon. Folks, on my right hand side, you'll see cabin number 1, cabin number 2. Cabin number 2 is headed up down as we're headed up. This is an aerial zigzag tram, meaning one tram on top, one on the bottom. When in motion, we mean right in the middle. They're going in a slightly lower elevation than we are. They have been eating at the restaurants already. That span of cable, that is amazing. But if it didn't impress you, I'll try one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look down. You are now almost 1,000 feet in the air. That's about 100 stories high, or 7.9 seconds down, just in case you're wondering. A couple of our fathers there. Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful Sandias are made of granite. Granite is 1,350 million years old. It's capped with limestone. The limestone is 250 million years old. Inside the limestone there are fossils of sea creatures. This was once the bottom of an ocean bed. We have tons of things to do here year-round. We have skiing, snowboarding, and snowshoeing in the wintertime. Hiking, backpacking, sightseeing. We have hang gliding. We have paragliding. We have rock climbing in the summertime. Take a look to the opposite side of myself. You'll see a large granite rock cliff. That granite rock cliff is one of the more popular rock cliffs for some of the most bold climbers to climb. Wow. You can imagine anyone climbing up and down that rock cliff gets his or her picture taken about 1 million times by people on the tram. That's why it's appropriately called Ego Boost.
Ego boost.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are leaving Big Canyon and entering Echo Canyon. What I'd like you to notice about Echo Canyon are the trees down below us. We spoke a little while ago about how everything looks real small, but it's very large. The trees you see down below us in Echo Canyon are 95 to 115 feet tall. Wow. That looks pretty small from up here. Folks, I'd like to give you a little information about the top of the tram. When we get to the top of the tram in our docking bay, there'll be a building facing us. That's the Four Seasons Visitor Center. In the Visitor Center, we have more information on the tram, information on geology and wildlife for the Sandias as well. There are also bathrooms and water fountains. It is a little cool up top. If you get cold, please come into the Visitor Center. Now, if you stick to the deck, to the left-hand side, the red deck will take you over to the High Finance Restaurant. High Finance Restaurant serves delicious lunch, good appetizers, and nice stiff drinks if that's what you need to help you get down at the end of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, a tram car does leave every 15 to 30 minutes. You do not have to be in the next tram car down. You can get any tram car you like, hang out as long as you like. When you are ready to come down, you need your boarding passes. Now, it's a little windy and there's a lot of people up here, so the boarding passes work a little different. When you're ready to come down, see Chad. He's the UT operator up on top. He will give you a number and a color. We'll call your number and your color, and that's how you know which is the next 5 to take down. Like 404 from Albuquerque to Santa Fe got lost, bad weather, had instrument failure. Ended up crash landing into the ravine right below us. The sun's hitting just right. You should be able to see pieces of the wreck. 16 fatalities, no survivors. Bodies were pulled out by mule train. If you're interested in more information, there's a book down at the gift shop on the plane crash. From the bottom of TWA Canyon, take a look straight up as high as you can go, as far back as you can go. There you'll see a limestone ridge. Follow that limestone ridge to its highest point. At its highest point, you'll see a small stone square cabin. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Kiwanis Cabin. Kiwanis Cabin was built in '33 by the Conservation Corps. It was built as shelter for hikers and skiers in the wintertime, and those folks building the roads back in the 30s. It's no longer in use. You can't hike out there. It's about 45 minutes or a mile and a half in one direction, or you can get a 360-degree view of the valley floor below. Folks, on a clear day from on top of the Sandias, you can see up to 200 miles in every direction. Take a look at these granite rock cliffs out in front of you, these columns. They've got a lot of colors in them, especially pink and purple. That's an element called feldspar. We get a nice strong sunset up in the Sandia. Those columns turn red from top to bottom. It's a beautiful phenomena. We think that's why the Españoles named this place La Sandia, which is Spanish for watermelon. Folks, in just a few seconds we will arrive at the top. You will have climbed almost 4,000 feet across 4 life zones in under 15 minutes. We started off at the Sonora Desert Zone. We're now in the Hudsonian Zone. The difference here is the temperature is about 15 degrees cooler and it is windy up on top. You get off the cabin, hang on to your hats, your wives, your kids, anything you don't want to fly away. Ladies and gentlemen, I got something serious to talk about. Folks, we have one of the largest fires in the United States happening in Reserve, New Mexico. Over 100,000 acres are burning. We've got 4 separate fires in Arizona. Folks, although our mountain is very beautiful, it's bone dry. You can see the winds out here. Folks, use a little common sense. There is no smoking on top of the mountain. If you do need to smoke, please wait till we get down. It's not worth smoking up here, folks. I want to remind you again that a cab leaves every 15 to 30 minutes. You don't have to get the next one down. Just take whichever one you like, hang on to your boarding pass. Folks, when you get off this tram line, go ahead and go into the visitor center. It's real windy inside, and you can decide whether you want to come down to the restaurant or hang out or what you like to do. If you're wondering about the winds, we can sustain winds of 45 miles an hour across or 60 mile an hour headwind. When we get to those wind speeds, it gets a little uncomfortable, but we'll stop all uphill traffic, but we'll continue downhill traffic. Right below me, I got a 1,000 gallon aluminum water tank. What I'll do is I'll put water in that water tank and use it as ballast to keep the steam from the cabin from shooting around. We'll continue all our downhill travel until everybody is off the mountain. Well, you know, we got a virtual weather station down below, so we monitor the winds. If we have anticipation of closing, I would announce that on the table for you not to go too far away.
Okay.
And I would recommend that anyway, you know, just don't go too far away.
What's the wind has to reach what speed in order for you guys
45 miles an hour cross or 60 mile an hour headwind.
and then you guys close?
And then we'll stop uphill traffic. Folks, we're going to feel a slight bump. You notice we're coming in with a swing? We're going to hit our docking bars here on the side, not very hard, just a little bit. They are slowing us down to control that swing. Either way, we'll feel a slight bump. Should feel it right about now. Folks, we're going to feel one more bump as we hit our bumpers in the front. We're going to come to a complete stop. Then we're going to hang out in the cabin for just about a minute. This will allow the bottom cabin to fully dock. Chad will open the door to some speed. Hang on to your boarding passes. Don't feed the bears. If all goes well, we'll see you on the way down.